Hi you guys, welcome so much to my channel. My name is Cornelia Pauline, and in today's video I'm so excited to be talking to you guys about the 10 mistakes that people commonly make or freelancers commonly make on the freelance platform Fiverr that keeps their account from becoming successful or as successful as it can be. Now I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this because Fiverr is essentially like that platform that I utilize to kind of start out with figuring out how to structure my service offering, what I could personally offer based on my past skill sets and professional experience that was of value to the marketplace, and that I could sort of like package into a service offer, where I could get paid for it. And my ultimate goal with Fiverr was that I really wanted to replace my back then corporate job income when I was working as a business analyst at Aeon. And essentially, I really wanted to replace this with my freelancer income on Fiverr. And I still remember, it was so funny, I went to, I took like very elongated bathroom breaks. Like, don't get me wrong, I was a very good and like hard worker, but I also made sure like when I got my stuff done, and for instance like I wanted to do a bathroom break because my manager was kind of like sitting right behind me in the cubicle and she could always see what I was doing, so I could never just like sit down on my work computer and like Google away like some people do. But I went into the bathroom and I had my phone with me, and then I was like and then I was just sitting in the stall doing my business obviously, and then also, or sometimes not, like just using that time to really like go on Fiverr, because Fiverr has an app too that you can download, and just realizing and figuring out, hey, how can I close this buyer, how can I make my gig better so that more people will buy it, how can you utilize the Fiverr algorithm and stuff like that, right? And then I ended up within 6 months replacing my back then corporate income. I was making about $3,000 a month, US dollars, and then I was replacing that and then figuring also out obviously of how not to just like utilize or sell those $5 gigs that Fiverr back then, like 6 years ago, was advertising. But now obviously it's much easier, and so I really already like knew that this was coming, because obviously of how the gig economy is looking globally, and also now with everything going on and happening like in the world history like last year, right? So it's a very exciting platform to be, and I'm hoping that this video will be really eye-opening to you and that you're gonna get like a bunch of knowledge out of it. So without further ado, let's get into those 10 mistakes that people usually make, and also I'm gonna give you some tips of how not to make them. Okay, the first mistake is, I'm looking at my notes. The first mistake is focus on a fast delivery of the services as opposed to focusing on the quality of the services that are being delivered. So this is very important. A lot of the times, like now for instance, you might have never heard about it, you've seen this video right now, you're hopping onto Fiverr, you're creating a profile, boom, within 5 minutes, you think, oh, you're gonna be able to create some income, right? Because you're gonna sell whatever translation services, for example, since you're bilingual or whatever it is, or you did like a social media internship back in college and you're thinking, hey, now you're a social media manager and you totally like can rock this. So you're throwing out those gigs, right? First of all, without doing any research based on what other profiles and accounts in that niche are doing. But you're also gonna go ahead and then maybe like sell some of like those gigs, because there is literally so many thousands, tens of thousands of people on Fiverr, like potential buyers and businesses that want to hire you every single day. So there might be like a business then that is gonna hire you. Obviously the chances are very high, but the thing is, what happens then is that to keep your account very, very active as well on Fiverr, you have to kind of deliver the services within a certain amount of time, within a certain range, right? So that depends on several things, and that's like more in-depth knowledge, but like for the sake of this video, let's just say within the 72 hours, right? You have to deliver service within 24 hours. So what's happening then though is that you kind of like freaking out, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this for the first time, so what am I doing? Okay, I'm just gonna like do it like this, I guess. I'm gonna use like a little bit of Google, and then oh, I guess this is how you do it. And so there's actually per se nothing wrong with learning, but what happens now is that you're delivering the service and you're actually delivering kind of crappy work. Like, do you remember like sort of back in college, you might have like waited like for weeks to get like this quarter paper that you need to produce, for your grade, that's like 30 or 40% of your grade, and then you kind of like just like winging it towards like the last few hours before you have to turn it in to your professor. And so what happens is, so like that if you're doing this on Fiverr and you keep providing this work, the potential buyers that are buying from you, you probably notice already, they can rate you, they can rate buyers, and they will see that what you're offering is not up to par. And especially if you promise them something else in like the gig description, then what you're delivering, it can look really bad. And like if you keep doing this, essentially your account will have, even though you're delivering within the time value, which is important for account health on Fiverr, however, if you keep delivering essentially, you know, crap, so to speak, then I'm gonna try to keep this PG-13 so that YouTube is not gonna flag me for swearing on the video. But so if you essentially like keep delivering this kind of stuff, right, that's not so good in terms of delivery of the services, then your account will never like rank up in the algorithm of Fiverr, and you're essentially never gonna like increase your account's success rate. And you ultimately want to be doing that because you want to be able to sell those higher packages then as well within Fiverr Pro and whatever not. But you really have to be careful, like in terms of like, and plan first ahead and strategize of what you're offering, and then make sure you're delivering it and focus on the quality of the delivery. Okay, second one, don't communicate with the buyer like they're a human being. So this always surprises me, but it is literally a common mistake. And I myself, obviously, I love like, you know, hiring freelancers on Fiverr for my business and for whatever my team and I need. So we're constantly on Fiverr as well. So I'm seeing both sides to it, right? And so oftentimes I'm really surprised with how sometimes people like not communicating with a potential buyer like they're a human being. They have sometimes even generic messages that they just copy and paste into, you know, if for instance I'm reaching out and asking something about a potential gig, and they copy paste like a generic message that doesn't really go into depth or like help me understand or answer my question, then this is obviously a problem as well. And yes, I do realize obviously that there's a lot of people on Fiverr whose first language is not English. I mean, mine included, you know, my first language isn't English either. However, it's very, very important that you are focusing on, if so to speak, your English isn't that great, you want to get probably the help of a friend, or if it's already pretty good enough, there is also online softwares as well that are going to help you, such as Grammarly, and I'm going to refer to that again in this video. But it is very, very key, because having this kind of professional communication will up your chances of closing not only like a higher ticket buyer that is going to trust you more and that is also going to invest more money in you, but it's also going to increase their trust in your work, right? Because if you're not focusing on or being personable in how you communicate back, and they're not seeing you face to face, then it's really hard for some buyers or a lot of buyers to kind of trust you, because you know, they don't know who you are, they don't know who is sitting on the other side of that computer, right? And who's going to work on their stuff that's really important to them. So you want to be able to kind of like really figure out how you can communicate and install trust through communication with a potential buyer before you even get to like the closing piece of it, right? So that was my second tip. Number 3, okay, this mistake is interesting because it goes a little bit against what I said before, but hear me out. So too much time wasted on unethical buyers. So when you get into business, or you go into business for yourself, and you start, you know, selling services, right? You will also see that there's obviously also buyers out there, and also buyers on Fiverr that are a little bit unethical. You really want to make sure that a buyer is in quote unquote ethical in a number of ways, right? So first of all, one of the tips that I can give you for this is a lot of time, like beginning Fiverr sellers that are quickly sometimes giving up on the platform itself, even though it's not the platform's fault. And I'm never like hitting that freelancer success in terms of like quitting their dreaded corporate job, which you might be aiming for, but it's or other job. But it's essentially that you are entering into business relationships, so you're accepting buyers or sending them out custom gigs or whatever it is, or not canceling gigs after they bought them, that are just not a fit for what you have to offer, right? And there's several ways you can figure that out. As for instance, also first of all, if a buyer reaches out to you, you can also tell maybe if they are too demanding, if they're not really nice, or if they're reaching out to you and they're sending you an entire essay, wanting you to help them actually figure out like this entire essay, which is like that's not your job either, right? If you're offering a very specific thing. Some buyers, you know, obviously like they don't even know what they want, and they're coming to you hoping that you're answering all of their dreams, so to speak. You have to be really careful of that too. It's a two-way street, it's a two-way relationship. And so yeah, just watch out for those things, obviously. Also, if they're respectful, you know, all this kind of stuff. And like I said, the cool thing nowadays that didn't exist when I started out with is that Fiverr, like you can rate buyers as well now, which is really, really cool, I think, because it's so important. So you can kind of also see and figure out if you want to work with that person or not. So if you are a buyer on Fiverr, be aware of that as well. So like I said, it's a two-way thing, and it's very important. And one of the things I would really also trust yourself is that it does come with experience. So at the beginning, don't be too worried about it, but you'll quickly figure it out. And if you had sort of like a certain kind of type of buyer where you ended up then not liking doing business with them, then don't enter into that same type of buyer again, like, or a relationship with that same type of buyer again. That's very, very important. You really want to make sure, obviously, you're going into business with yourself, you're doing this freelancing thing to do something that you want and to offer something that you feel is like special and that you have to offer. So you really also want to work with people that you really like to work with and that you know that fit with you. So not everyone is a fit for each other, and it's totally cool to say this as well. Don't be like worried that you might be losing out on money, because in the long run you will win a lot more than maybe like that projected price of what you can make from this one maybe more headache buyer. So just a little tip. Mistake number 4, a lot of new Fiverr sellers, so Fiverr sellers that aren't successful yet, they are not treating their Fiverr business as a business, or the new Fiverr business, but it is a business and you have to treat it as such. What do I mean by that? Like things like, for instance, if someone orders a gig from you and you publish the gig, you did not pause or delete the gig. And by gig is obviously, like, in case I didn't explain that yet and you didn't know, a gig is just like a service that you offer. So for instance, I help you translate this document into Spanish, right? Or I help you manage your Instagram account in terms of like commenting on other accounts in like for 30 days. Something like that, right? It's like very specific kind of like projects almost that you'll offer and that someone can buy. So that's a gig, right? That's like the whole gig economy. And so the thing is, like, if you're offering this, right, and someone buys it from you, it is your responsibility and also your kind of like duty as a business to fulfill this. And I sometimes see that a lot, and that happened to me too. I bought like something and all of a sudden like that person disappeared. Like this is not a professional relationship, obviously. If you want to make this, for instance, if you want to replace your income with this and, you know, with your Fiverr freelancing business, you have to really make sure that you're treating it as a business. Like I said, do what you say you're doing, fulfill what it is that you promised you would fulfill, communicate professionally and clearly, make sure there is no miscommunication there, or as little as there possibly could be if you are bilingual. Obviously, Fiverr is a global cultural marketplace. There are lots and lots of people and transactions happening from people around the world, from different cultural backgrounds, professional backgrounds, whatever it is. So you have to be kind of like really conscientious of that, and also make sure that you are like aware of that, right? Because there are cultural differences and also how people communicate, how they are doing business, and so on and so on. But like I said, I feel like if you are aware of that, and if you're kind of keeping track of it, and you're learning with every new gig or you know, Fiverr gig that you're doing, fulfilling successfully, then you are going also to be growing your Fiverr business as well, because you are going to learn, for instance, who your specific gig or your business is for, and for instance, from where in the world most people are ordering your gig from and for what, and all this kind of stuff, right? And then of course, don't forget as well that, like, since you're starting this right now, you are your own boss, meaning you cannot just wait for someone to tell you what to do or what not to do. If you don't know how to do something, for instance, as well, like reach out to, for instance, Fiverr support, ask them, use Google wisely and all this kind of stuff. It's very important, right? But like just don't feel defeated, because there's always ways that you can figure out stuff. And of course, I'm hoping also this video will create some conversation. So if there are questions around anything else or further or in depth about Fiverr, drop a comment down below. I'll make sure as well to hang out in the comments and answer it you know, after publishing this video. Okay, next mistake is missing the importance of capturing your service offer with an accompanying video. And that's crucial. That's so important. And I know it's not like sometimes the easiest, maybe because like I said, Fiverr is a global marketplace, and sometimes you might feel like you feel a little bit uncomfortable, whatever, in how you can record a video. Maybe like your surroundings, you feel like they're not professional enough, whatever it is. But to be honest with you, if you are just against a plain wall and you are like in front of that plain wall and you are recording a video from your computer that you're also using to fulfill your Fiverr gig services with, is key and will increase the conversions that you're getting in terms of like people buying your gig, and will drive up also your gig in the Fiverr algorithm, because Fiverr loves accounts that use videos in terms of describing their gigs. So that's very important, and I cannot like recommend this enough. It really, video is going to be the future, and it goes back to what I said before of how, you know, like it helps people get to know you much faster and much better than when you have, for instance, just a picture of, let's say, Mickey Mouse, which is looking very professional. So you want to make sure to add the video, or add a video explaining your gig or who you are and that kind of stuff, also to your Fiverr business, okay, and to your different gig pages. So that's another, don't make that mistake. Add the video right now after you watch this video, and of course hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and show me those likes. And if you like it, share this video as well. Okay, let's go to the next mistake. Mistake number 6. No, wait. That was mistake number 6. Mistake number 7. This next mistake goes to what I just like said a little bit as well. Uploading low quality images throughout kind of like Fiverr. If it's like a profile image, your profile image, or if it's, for instance, in the gig page, right, and you're uploading you know, a gig image or whatever it is, or a work that you're showcasing that you've done maybe for like a client if you're a designer or whatever not, and you're uploading a low profile image, it looks essentially very bad. Like because first of all, it does look unprofessional. Again, it looks like they're not taking their business, their freelancing business seriously, so don't make that mistake. And second of all, it also makes me think as a potential buyer, like that attention to detail isn't there like as much as I want it to be. So those things are very important. So you want to showcase also your work in like the different Fiverr gig sections or the profile that you're using, to make it as high pixelized and as fast as possible. And you know, you can also check out, of course, you know, just Google it or check out the Fiverr, you know, support pages, their blog, because they will specify exactly the dimensions, the current ones, because they are updating it frequently. So also hint, if they are updating it, update them as well accordingly. But so they will specify it, and then just use their specifications so that your account can look as good and as professional as possible. Okay, next mistake. Mistake number 8 is the lack of social media sharing of your new Fiverr account. So this is a lot of the time something that I see when people are just getting super excited, they get started on Fiverr, and they cannot like get the ball rolling, right? They're not getting any purchases of their gigs. So usually it's like one of those 2 reasons, or one of 3 reasons I should say. The first reason is that you the description essentially sucks. It's just not good. You know, you haven't put any thought into it, the bio could be better, all this kind of stuff. The account looks dubious. You really need to work on that, right? The second thing is that you don't have any testimonials yet. Testimonials are very interesting because they again instill trust in a potential buyer. So once you get your first testimonials, this is really the first hurdle that you need to make sure to make. Obviously every delivery, but also the first few deliveries, do you remember like how we talked about, they cannot be crap. You really have to make sure that they're really good on a point, and then asking for the testimonials so you can get them, and then you know it's gonna help you. You will see like a lot more. This is the first hurdle, and then you're gonna get a lot more orders. And then the third thing is what I'm talking about here. The mistake is they are not sharing it on their social media accounts. Why wouldn't you share it? I understand that you might be worried, you know, that if you have a boss, you have like an account that you don't want to share it because you don't want them to see what you're doing on the side. And I don't know, of course, if there are specifications in your work agreement that you cannot be doing that. But most of the time they're not, and like, so really check on that. You don't necessarily have to, you know, share it on LinkedIn, but why don't you share it with maybe your friends privately, you know, maybe spread the word. You really want to be proud of what it is that you're doing, and you would be surprised of how oftentimes sometimes there is a friend of a friend that comes around that will be also your first buyer and will give you your first testimonial, which is really like the first hurdle that you want to be crossing. So literally do not be shy to share it. Like, be proud of it and make sure that your account is something to be proud of as well, but be proud of it and share it. And then you'll see how much more traffic also, which is really good. You are getting to your gigs and to your profile on Fiverr, and that will drive up and help, the Fiverr algorithm look favorably on your Fiverr account as well. Okay, so number 9, lacking a clear description of their services. So it's really important that you include in your gig services of who that service is for, what is included, and how you're going to fulfill this, right? And in what timeline. So all of these things are really important. And in case you've never done this before, there's a cool way, and I teach that my students inside my Fiverr Focus program as well, which I have. I teach them that it's really important that first of all, you research competitors or markets. If you have an idea, I help them definitely come up with knowing what to sell on Fiverr and how they can package this. But so some tips that I can give you as well is that, like I said, look at the competitors, what it is that they're doing already, and then check out some of the most popular accounts as well, how they're structuring their gig descriptions. Because obviously it does work with the Fiverr search engine. There's certain terms that they're including as well. It's really important, and don't copy and paste it. That's not what I'm saying here, please. But just research and look what it is that they're doing, so that you understand and know how you want to structure the gig description as well. If you're bilingual as well, I'm doing this too. I'm always using a software service as well that is checking my grammar, my that I have no other spelling mistakes, whatever it is. I use Grammarly or Hemingway. I'll put the links down in the comments as well. If you don't know of them yet, I can highly recommend it. It's really kind of adding this extra eye onto your work, so make sure to look and sound as professional as it can be. So just very important tip, really work on the gig description. This is what's going to do the most selling after someone get hooked onto your profile, right? And so mistake number 10, that's the final mistake, that someone is secretly believing that the success on Fiverr is impossible for them. So in essence, or in short, it's a mindset block that someone has, because they think just because they might not have certain certificates, they don't have a schooling of some sort, whatever it is, that they cannot just be successful on their own on Fiverr, freelancing in essence. But I'm here to tell you, and there's literally tens of thousands of people on Fiverr, when you're just looking at what it is that they're doing, that will prove you wrong. So those are stories you want to look at that prove you wrong. It doesn't matter in what country you're in right now, and I really mean this. It doesn't matter where you're at right now. If you're in the Philippines, if you're in India, if you're in Germany, if you're in the US, whatever it is, wherever you are, if you have access to internet and you have your laptop right now, you can make this successful, right? It's up to you. And if you have mindset blocks like this because you haven't had, for instance, you didn't grow up with entrepreneurs, myself, I had to really kind of figure out and learn basic things that are really important, like selling, and packaging your services, your skill sets, selling them, and all this kind of stuff, right? Buy negotiations, whatever not. These are all things that you can acquire. And a good tip that I have, a book that I love that is helped me change my mindset on many things as well. So that's the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. I believe this is his name. I'm gonna drop a comment down below if you want to check out this book. It's on Amazon, you can get it anywhere. And so it's a really, really great book that's gonna change your mind. So can only recommend it. So I hope you found these 10 mistakes that I just shared with you helpful to know about, and then also that you can obviously avoid them if you are thinking of getting started on Fiverr, or you're already on Fiverr but you're not seeing the success that you want to see. And if you want to know more as well, I have a freebie that I created where I'm also not showing you right now, I talked about the 10 mistakes, but I'm showing you actually the 10 steps of how you can really replace, I'm saying corporate income, because basically how you can replace your income making about 3,000 a month on Fiverr, and you can do this fairly quickly. Within 3 to 9 months, our students have done this in my course Fiverr Focus. So I can only recommend you can download it. The freebie is totally free. You get it as a PDF form afterwards. I'll drop the link down below as well, so check it out. And then of course, if you like this video, again, show me those thumbs ups. Share it as well with someone that needs to hear it today. And then I hope you liked it. I see you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.